What is up, man, our nation? It's your host, Shay. I'm excited to be here with y'all tonight. We're going to be rocking it. Let me tell you something. Welcome to the Man Hour NFL Talk, the home for live, raw, uncut NFL coverage. Glad you're rolling with us today. Before we jump in, head over to manhourradio.com. That's where you find exclusive merch like this hoodie right here, fresh blogs, and everything happening with the show. If you're rocking with the Man Hour, that is the spot to rep it. Go ahead, make sure you hit like, share, subscribe so you never ever miss a show. That's the easiest way to stay plugged in. Want the full experience? Become a Pigskin Pundit, our members-only community where you can get free entry into NFL Pick'ems, giveaways, exclusive merch, and bonus live streams only for the pundits. If you're all about that next level access, baby, join the squad. And remember, y'all, this is a live, interactive show. Drop your thoughts, your opinions, or your comments below, and let's get to it. Hey, I'm excited to rock with you guys today. My name's Shay for y'all that's joining us here tonight, and I am so ready to get started. It's Friday. We made it through the week, y'all. And here's the deal. It's been a crazy freaking week of football. And it didn't slow down come on Thursday. Okay? Thursday made it even more crazy, and we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight, but before we get into Thursday, where we had Seattle have this crazy comeback against the Rams, a 16-point lead blown in the fourth quarter, some controversial calls on a 2-point conversion. We're gonna get into all that, y'all. But before we jump into that, I want to start in Fort Worth. I want to start in Dallas. I want to start with those guys that you see on your screen right now, and I want to start with them boys. All right, I want to start with them boys. Let's talk about America's team. Let's talk about what I like to call them in 2025, America's fantasy football team. And I know the Dallas-Fort Worth area is going to be lighting up the comments for this one, but someone's got to say it. We are in Week 16, guys. Week 16, and the Dallas Cowboys are a mediocre 6 wins, 7 losses, and 1 tie. Yet if you turn on any national show, you think that this was the 85 Bears based on the coverage they get. Straight up. Stop the tape. They're not just underperforming, guys. They're fundamentally overrated. Let's break down the big 3 reasons why the Dallas Cowboys are a total mirage. The first one is this, the defensive sieve. See, the star power versus the statistical reality. I want to start with the side of the ball that is supposed to be the identity of this team, the Dallas Cowboys. We hear about Micah Parsons every 5 seconds. We hear about the playmakers in the secondary, and you go, well, Shay, Micah Parsons isn't there anymore. Okay, you're right. But let's talk about Kenny Clark. If you've listened to any Buck shows, he talks about this man Overshown. And we talk about Bland. And we talk about these guys that are just these star-studded athletes. And they may be so, but let's look at the objective. Let's look at the objective in the cold-blooded reality. We sit here in Week 16. The Cowboys' defense is ranked 30-2, dead freaking last in the NFL in passing yards allowed. You're not just bad at that point. You are a historical liability. You just allowed a rookie quarterback in Minnesota to look like a first-ballot Hall of Famer, dog. A first-ballot Hall of Famer. I told y'all. I got on this stream last week, and I told y'all my overreaction that was not an overreaction was that J.J. McCarthy was going to tear that booty up in Dallas. And guess what? He did. You gave up 44 points to the Lions in a game where your secondary looked like they were running in work boots. I'm talking Swiss cheese. Gosh, how can you call a team elite? How in the world do you think you can call a team elite when their defensive strategy is pray, please, please, please drop the ball? They're giving up nearly 30 points a game. Mike Zimmer was brought into discipline, but instead he brought a swinging door. You can have all individual Pro Bowlers like Quinnen Williams, like Kenny Clark, like Aaron Bland. You can do that all you want, but if you cannot stop a basic slant route on a 3rd and 7, golly day, you are not a contender. You are a track meet where the only other team running is the other team. Second, Dallas Cowboys. Let's look at the offense. Dak Prescott is going to finish this season with 4,500 passing yards. That's a whole lot of passing yards. That ain't bad, right? CeeDee Lamb is going to have a career year in catches And the Cowboys stat heads are going, look, let me tell you, this is a top-tier offense. Bull crap. It's empty calories, dog. It's like when I sit here and I drink a bunch of beer and I say, it's just empty calories, dog. Here's why. These guys are the rice cakes of football. They look like the meal, but there's no nutritional value. Look at the tape. When is Dak getting these yards? He's getting them in the fourth quarter when the Cowboys are already down by 17 points. It's easy to rack up 150 against a prevent defense that's just waiting for the clock to hit 0. That's easy. Don't give up the big plays is all they're sitting there saying. Where is their production in the first half? Where is it in the red zone? Dallas ranks in the bottom 5 in red zone efficiency, guys. Red zone efficiency, bottom 5. They can move the ball between the 20s all day long, but when they get in the red zone, call it a day, call in the field goal unit. I sure hope you got Brandon Aubrey on your fantasy team because he's putting up 30 a week. 30 a week, I'm telling you. Golly day. They're a stat padding machine that don't know how to finish a dogfight, guys. Leading the league in yards while having a losing record isn't success. It's an indictment. It's not success. It's an embarrassment. So let's figure it out. And the third thing is this. These guys are front runners with no grit. The biggest reason the Dallas Cowboys are overrated, I want you to lean in. I want you to lock in. I want you to hear me out when I say this. The biggest reason is the bully mentality. This team is a classic schoolyard bully. They find a team with a backup offense line, a 3-win record, and they look like the 1990 dynasty all over again. They dance, they celebrate, they put up 40, and the media goes, oh, my goodness, the Dallas Cowboys are the second coming. But what happens when the other kid punches back? When they play somebody like the 49ers, when they play somebody like the Buffalo Bills, when they play somebody like the Detroit Lions, teams that actually have a pulse and a physical identity, the Cowboys fold like a freaking lawn chair. They are front runners, if they don't get a turnover and a 10-point lead in the first 10 minutes. They are front runners, but the body language on that sideline becomes toxic. You see slump shoulders, you see finger pointing, and the total lack of mental toughness is incredible. They're overrated because they play for a highlight reel, not for the win column. They don't have grit to win 13 games. They don't have grit to win in the freezing rain. They don't got grit. They want to win 38-10 in a climate-controlled dome where they can look for the cameras. Until this team learns how to win, things are ugly. They will always, and I say always, be the most overrated brand in football history. Anytime the pressure's on Dallas, anytime the camera's in Dallas, anytime Jerry Jones opens his geriatric mouth, they're going to lose. They're going to lose. And I went on a rant, chat. So I want to hear from you. This is a live, interactive show, and I want to hear from you. Do you think the Cowboys are overrated? Do you think the Cowboys are overrated? Don't forget, subscribe, hit that like button. And remember, we are live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube.com/Man Hour. Go ahead, join the conversation. It's a live, interactive show. Man Hour, Bucks in the stream. He says, them boys, America. Then he says this, go kick rocks. Baby, I ain't got no shoes on. I ain't kicking no rocks. Electro's in the chat. What's up, Electro? He says, my team is America's team. All right, man. And you're used to disappointment. Welcome to the show, but you're used to disappointment. Buck says Super Bowl team. They're not. Cody writes in the chat, what's up? That's my boy. Cody, what is up? He says, overrated every year, kind of like my Steelers. But at least the Steelers make the playoffs, you know? I mean, that's about all good Mike Tomlin is. Playoffs and done. Unless you got Big Ben, but he ain't got Big Ben. But who knows, after the Phillip Rivers signing in Indy, maybe they'll call Big Ben up and see if he wants to sling the rock. But why do that? You already got a geriatric Aaron Rodgers in the backfield. Buck says Steelers are not overrated, they just underappreciated. Nah, they're overrated. They're overrated. You got a stat, or you got an offense like that. You got Jalen Warren, Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, Pat Freiermuth. I mean, how are you not scoring points? Your defense is good, all right? Man Hour says, Buck says Cowboys beat the Packers now by 30. Ain't no chance, bro. Ain't no chance. Ain't doing it. Packers average 3 points in the first quarter. Dallas doesn't. Here's what I love about being a Packers fan. Right here, you point this out perfectly for me, Buck. that even when we ain't talking about the Packers, teams are talking about the Packers. And we're about to jump right into it. We really are. We are going to jump right into it. Electro says, we aren't overrated. We're rebuilding from what Mike couldn't put together. I mean, you can blame that boy. I'm guessing you're talking about Mike McCarthy, right? You said that's America's team, right? Mike McCarthy, we're going to talk about him tonight. Mike McCarthy is going to go to the Tennessee Titans and turn that program around. So you go ahead and watch. Just watch. You come in here 2026 talking all that smack, talking all that smoke, how Mike McCarthy was the problem. And when Dallas is sitting there with Shoddy at a 500 or less season and the Titans are sitting there in a playoff spot, you come talk with me, Electro. But I want to move on to our next segment here because my boy Buck keeps talking about these Packers. These Packers this, Packers that. Buck, I already talk about the Packers enough. Matter of fact, I'm surprised nobody's got on. Every time I get on here, he's going to talk about the Packers. And you know I'm going to talk about the Packers, baby. You already know I'm going to talk about the Packers. And I'm going to jump right into it with this guy right here, all right? And I titled this, Love Always Wins. Love always finds a way. I hope you got your winter coats on, man, hour, because the temperature is dropping. The snow is starting to stick at Lambeau. And that means one thing and one thing only. The most dangerous man in professional football has been activated. I'm talking about the Toyota-thon Jordan Love. Forget what you saw in September. Forget the early season growing pains. We're in the thick of the holiday season, and number 10 has officially turned into the final boss of the NFC. All right? People ask if he can carry this team deep into January, especially with the uncertainty with injuries to Micah Parsons, Evan Williams, and Zach Tom, maybe even Christian Watson. Here's what I'm telling you. He's not just carrying them, man, hour. He's strapping the entire franchise to his back. He's sprinting towards New Orleans, and he says, let me give you 3 reasons why this ain't just hype. It's a mathematical certainty. Let's start with the first one. And I talked about this a little bit in previous streams. Let's talk about the Toyota-thon stat numbers, baby. Let's look at the numbers because they're illegal, y'all. Somebody needs to call the authorities. Somebody needs to call the authorities because they are illegal. We call it Toyota-thon for a reason. Because this man, Jordan Love, turns into a different species when the calendar hits November 18th. I want you to look over his last 3 Toyota-thons. Jordan Love is 13-5 as a starter. In that span, he has thrown 32 tutties to just 4 interceptions. That is, for all you math majors out there, an 8-to-1 ratio. You want to talk about elite? He holds a current 91.9 PFF passing grade during this stretch. Hey, did y'all know what that is? That's number 1 in the NFL. But, it's not just about efficiency. It's about the aggression. Love leads the league with 31 deep ball completions during this winter surge. He isn't just taking the defense what they give him. He is taking their souls. And let's not forget the holiday magic. He is 5-0 in holiday games with 14 touchdowns and 0 picks. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, it don't matter. When the lights are the brightest and the stakes are the highest, sign me up for number 10, baby. Jordan Love plays the perfect game. He is processing at a speed that makes elite defenses look like they're playing in slow freaking mo. But can he do it? Can he do it? Because I watched that game last week. I watched the Packers in the third quarter when Micah Parsons went down with that non-contact ACL tear. Oh, and I was one of the people too. Like in that moment, in those emotional moments, you have to overreact, right? You're letting your emotions get the best of you. And my wife sitting on the couch, I said, Parsons just tore his ACL. I said, we're done. We're done. Like it was just such a blanket statement. It was easy to say, we're done. It's over. And once we got through that game, I realized something. I said, we're going to be all right. And here's why. The Packers were legit last year without Micah Parsons. The Packers also have one of the deadliest receiver groups in the NFL. And y'all may not agree with me, but who do you think you're going to – you said we're going to cover Christian Watson. We're going to double him. And then Dontavian Wicks has a breakout game. Matthew Golden has a breakout game. Savion Williams has himself a game. Jaden Reed has himself a game. I mean, the list goes on and on. This man, Josh Jacobs, he don't know how to play with an injury. He just goes out there and does his best. He said in an interview earlier this week that him and Matt LaFleur butt heads all the freaking time because he wants to go out there and play. So can Jordan Love do it? Yes, and here's why. Here's the reason number 2. He is absolutely fire under pressure. He's a third down king. Let's talk about poise. Everybody wants poise from a quarterback. Every quarterback looks good when the pocket's clean, baby. Everybody loves that, but Love has proven he's the pressure cooker. He's the king. Last week against Denver, he was pressured on 52, over half of his dropbacks, a career high. And while the final score was a heartbreak with injuries and a one-score lead by the Broncos, Love stayed in the pocket, took the hits, and kept the team within striking distance until the final seconds. Here's the stat that should terrify every single defensive coordinator in the playoffs. The Green Bay Packers are, drum roll please, number 1 in NFL on third down conversions at 50.2%. Think about that. Every second third down, Jordan Love moves the sticks, baby. That's not luck. That's elite processing. He knows where the blitz is coming from. He knows where his hot read is, and he has the arm and talent to fit the ball in the windows the size of a freaking microwave. Whether it's Tucker Kraft over the middle, Romeo Doubs on the sideline, Jaden Reed in the backfield, or Matthew Golden on the screen, Love is consistently making the money throws. In the playoff games are won and lost on a third down, and right now there is not a better team in the NFL or in a better situation than the Jordan Love. And third, before I move on to this next piece and this next segment, is the adversity. That next up man mentality. We got to address the elephant in the room. These injuries are killing the Packers. And I still stand on what I say. It's the next man up. I said that all year here on Man Hour. We cannot sit here and go, oh, my gosh, woe is me. Like, I think about the Lions last year, and I was saying the same thing. Like, who cares? It's the next man up. It's brutal, and losing Micah Parsons to a season-ending ACL tear is a massive blow. But here I'm telling you this. This is why they paid Jordan Love the big bucks. Everybody grilled the Packers organization. I can't believe they paid him. I can. You want to know why? Because they let T-Law get that massive contract. And then they decided to pay Jordan Love. This adversity is exactly what's going to forge this team to a Super Bowl run right here. Your star edge rusher goes down, and that happened back in 2010 when they won it too, by the way. The offense has to pick up the slack, and the Packers' receiving core is deeper than Lake Michigan. Winner, baby. You got Romeo Doubs with 5 tutties, okay? You got Matthew Golden. You got Dontavian Wicks. You got Christian Watson. You got Jaden Reed. You got Savion Williams. I mean, it goes and it goes and it goes and it goes, dog. Jordan Love is a force multiplier. He makes everyone around him better. He don't need a 100% healthy roster to win. He just needs a headset and a football, big dog. This team has been forged in a fire. Yes, they're sitting at 9-4-1, and they're fighting for the NFC North crown. They've won the shootouts, they've won the grinds, and they've won in the snow. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. Come at me with that mess. We have swept the Lions. This week the Packers will go into Chicago, and they will sweep the Bears. And then they will go to Minnesota and sweep the Vikings. 1 week at a time, though. The Packers will beat the Bears this Saturday. All right? I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout. Probably going to be a nail-biter. It's going to be a close one. The Packers will win. And then y'all can miss me with all that mess you've been talking all freaking year. Jordan Love is carrying this team to the promised land. But I want to hear from you, Man Hour Nation. Can Jordan Love carry the Packers, or you think they're done? Don't forget, subscribe, hit that like button, and remember, we are live Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on youtube.com/Man Hour. Go ahead, join the conversation. It's a live, interactive show. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Man Hour says Titans won 19 games in 7 years. That's all right. Electro said, I call cap. Ain't no way Mike going to do that. Ain't no way. Shotty going to turn us around. Just wait for the greatness. Brother, y'all say that every year, Electro. Wait, this is our year. Wait, if we could just get a few more pieces, this is our year. Keep talking it, boy. Keep talking it, because every year is your year. Man Hour says, one and done. Hill may not make the playoffs. They may not. I don't even know what you're trying to say. Packers to the bowl, baby. And then Electro says, nah, he Jordan Love. Ain't no Aaron Rodgers. Well, it's Aaron Rodgers, and he ain't got to be Aaron Rodgers. He got to be Jordan Love. Aaron Rodgers is the geriatric playing in Pittsburgh. Rest his soul. I love watching him play in Green Bay. I miss watching him play in Green Bay. But the future is here, and the future is bright, and the future is now, and he goes by the name of Jordan Love. So go ahead. Watch him take that full ownership of the Bears again. Watch the Packers sweep the Bears. Watch them sweep the Vikings, and they've already swept the Lions. They are winning the division. Just watch. I'll be back here next week. Don't you worry about it, baby. I'll be here next week, and we can talk all about it. But for now, let's move on to our third segment of the show. And I want to talk about these injuries, dog. I want to talk about the resurrection tour. Because here's the deal. They say the darkest hour is just before the dawn. Well, NFL fans, we are in pitch black right now. The 2025 season has been a graveyard for these legends. We've seen the untouchables get touched. We've seen the invincibles break. It's been brutal. It's been soul crushing. And there's still a little bit of year left. And it's got the playoff bracket looking like a stranger in the freaking mirror. I'm talking no Eagles, or excuse me, no Mahomes, no Chiefs. It's a mess. But I'm done mourning. I'm done looking at the out for the season reports with a box of tissues, because while the rest of the league is fighting for this trophy for February, three of the baddest men, I'm going to go with four of the baddest men on the planet are sitting in rehab facilities, staring at the wall, getting angry, thinking about what could have been. They aren't just rehabbing, they're plotting. They aren't just coming back, they're coming for everything, dog. So let's talk about the top four people I'm excited to see come back from injury and just tear it up. Buck, I hope you're in here, dog, because my number one is somebody I'm excited about. You either love him or you hate him. It's the same thing that we did with number 12, the GOAT, Tom Brady. But I want to talk about the man, the myth, the legend, Patrick Mahomes. It's the King's wrath, baby. Let's start with the earthquake that shook the sports world on December 14th. Patrick Mahomes rolls out of the pocket, tries to throw a ball, and bop! Got a torn ACL and LCL in Week 15, lost to the Chargers. For the first time in a decade, the Kansas City Chiefs are irrelevant come January. The Empire didn't just fall, y'all. It freaking vanished in one snap. But listen to me carefully. Mahomes underwent some surgery with Dr. Dan Cooper in Dallas on Monday night. And the reports are already coming out successful, and they're already saying that he's ahead of schedule. Rick Burkholder says he's in the facility, that is Patrick Mahomes, at 6 in the morning. He's the last one out at night. Do you really think a torn ligament's going to stop the greatest processor we've ever seen? I'm asking real talk. Do you really think a torn ligament's going to hold this man down? In 2026, here's what's going to happen. Mahomes isn't just going to play. He's going to be on a mission. He's going to be on a mission to reclaim his throne from the Goffs and the Jordan Loves of the world. He's going to have a fully healthy Rashee Rice after he quits getting hit at 120 miles an hour. And he's going to have an offensive line that was rebuilt with a never-again mentality. Mahomes, with a chip on his shoulder, is the most terrifying man in sports. He's going to throw for 5,000 yards and win the 2026 MVP. Just to remind everybody that the road to the Super Bowl runs through Kansas City. The resurrection starts in KC. Number two. This one, near and dear to my heart. We're going to move over to Green Bay. To the newest Green Bay Packer, my boy, number one, Micah Parsons. And before his knee gave out, y'all, in that 34-26 loss to the Broncos, he was the undisputed MVP of our defense. 8 sacks in the fourth quarter alone. He had 83 pressures, a league high. He was the son the entire Packers' 6th-ranked defense revolved around. And I saw this post on Monday from Micah Parsons, and I had a tear in my eye. I had emotions welling up in my chest because he called this his greatest test. He said, "We will rise again," and you better believe it. Parsons is a physical anomaly, y'all. He sits at 250 of pure twitch and violence, and by the time September 2026 rolls around, he will have had 9 months to do nothing but build lower body explosiveness. Here's the deal. If you thought this dude was fast off the edge this year, wait until you see the revenge Micah. He is going to be hunting quarterbacks with a level of ferocity, that makes his 2025 season look like a warm-up. I'm putting the marker down. I'm going to agree with Jeff Halfley. Micah Parsons will have a 20-plus sack season and get the Defensive Player of the Year in 2026, also getting the Comeback Player of the Year in 2026. Then I want to move down south, way down south. I'm talking the Miami. I'm talking the, is it going to be, how do you say his name, Ewers show? Now that Tua's getting benched, Mike McDaniel's going to leave that place. But I want to talk about the man, the myth, the legend that we kind of forgot, y'all. He goes by the name of Tyreek freaking Hill. And I want to talk about the Cheetah's second act. We got to talk about a man who's been a ghost since week 4. He dislocated a knee against the Jets, and I'm going to be honest with y'all, it was one of the most gruesome knee injuries I've seen on a football field. He had multiple ligaments torn, and people said, that's it. The dude's gone. He's 31. He is toast. He is finished. I was one of those people. But y'all ain't been paying attention. Tyreek just confirmed there's no nerve damage. There's no blood flow issues. The Cheetah is still the Cheetah, but here's the kicker, y'all. The Dolphins, they're in total transition. Tua's been benched. The GM might be out. And Hill's agent, Drew Rosenhaus, he's playing it cool, dog. He's doing what every agent wants him to do. In 2026, Tyreek Hill is going to be playing for his freaking legacy and quite possibly for a new team. Whether it's a reunion in Kansas City, whether he's moving to the Chargers to save Justin Herbert, a rested, a fully healed, Tyreek Hill is still the only player in this league who can score from 80 yards out on a simple slant route. He's going to spend all of 2026 proving that his speed is God-given and injury-proof. He will be back in all-pro conversation before October. You heard it here first, man hour. And now, the fourth. Man that I miss this dude bad. And I think this is why the Giants are going to be crazy next year. All right? They're going to have a new head coach. They got a young quarterback. They got a young running back, because Cam Scatterbo is going to come back, and that's not who I'm getting ready to talk about. They got this young receiver that went out with an ACL tear, and he was on pace for a 1,400-yard season as a rookie 2 years ago. He's crazy, dude. He goes in the Big Apple. His name is Malik Neighbors. All right, he tore his ACL in September, and Jackson Dart said this is the best receiver in the NFL, and I'm on y'all better watch out. Y'all better watch out. I'm not saying he's the best, but I ain't saying he's the worst. I ain't saying he's the best, but I'm not saying he isn't. In 2026, the Giants will likely have a top 3 pick to pair with Malik Neighbors, to pair with Cam Scatterbo, to pair with Jackson Dart. Neighbors is going to come back with Jamar Chase level of year 2 dominance. He's rehabbing. He's gaining strength. The Giants rebuild is going to be fast-tracked because, number one, is the ultimate eraser of mistakes, and that is my boy in New York, the crown of New York, the prince of New York, Malik freaking Neighbors. But I want to hear from you, chat. Who do you think comes back stronger than ever from an injury in 2026? Think it's Mahomes, Parsons? Do you think it's Neighbors or Hill? Do you think it's somebody totally different? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget, subscribe, hit that like button, and remember, we are live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on youtube.com/man hour. Let me know in the comments what you think. Yes, sir. What we got? Electro says, give me the Bears over the Packers. Trust. We'll see. Check in on Monday. We'll see. Check in on Monday. We'll see. I'm not sure if I'm set to stream on Monday or not, but I'll definitely pop in on the stream and let you know what's up. I'll let you know what's up, Electro. Man Hour says Mahomes. Micah will take longer to be great. Yeah, that's why I got Mahomes 1, Micah at 2. Mahomes, dude, like, both those guys' competitive juices and edge, man, like, I told my wife when Patty went down, I was like, dude, I'm drafting him in fantasy next year. Like, I'm getting everything I can out of this man next year because Patrick Mahomes is going to be on a freaking heater. He's going to be. He's so freaking competitive. And all the Chiefs need is for people to go, oh, they ain't the Chiefs no more. And they're, whoo! Buck, if I am you, as much as it pains me to watch this year unfold like it does, as a Chiefs fan, if I'm you, I'm sitting there foaming at the mouth. foaming at the mouth. Buck says, this looks great on TV. I agree, Electro. Malik is going to ball out when he gets back. I know. Buck says he will miss all of 2026. Is that confirmed? Did they already say that? I guess it was ACL tear. So, rip. I hate that. Hate that for him. Hate that for the league. Hate that for my fantasy. You know, I was going to go get Patty. And we was going to win it all because this year in fantasy, I think your boys got like in 3 leagues a combined 10 wins, which if you don't know anything about fantasy, that's cheeks. That's cheeks. Electro says, I doubt Mahomes going to go back. It might be a RG3 situation if he comes back. Electro, whatever you're smoking, whatever you're drinking, whatever, I don't know what you're doing right now, lay off the Zaza, put the bottle down, because here's the deal. There's no way you just put Patrick Mahomes and RG3 in the same situation, in the same boat, in the same sentence, dog. Get out of here. Get out of here. We'll see, Buck. He says take time, rebuild KC. He could. That'd be the smart move. But if NFL ownership has taught us anything, we don't always go with the smart moves. Am I right? We want to do what the fans want. And you know everybody's going to be hollering, give us Patty, give us Patty, give us Patty. But, Man Iron Nation, I told you we would get there, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the Seattle Seahawks, who's, I'm going to be honest with you, man. The uniform matchups this year are straight gas. They're straight fire. Like, this uniform right here with the freaking oil-stained helmets, oh, my goodness. Whoever did that needs a huge raise. Go get them a huge raise because these helmets and these uniforms, dog, were crazy. But I want to talk about the Seattle Seahawks. I don't want to hear about the 49ers. I don't want to hear about the Eagles. I definitely don't want to hear about no Cowboys anymore because last night we watched the Seattle Seahawks trail by 16 points going into the fourth quarter against an 11-win Rams team, y'all. Most teams, they're going to fold there, but most teams start looking at the flight home. But the Seahawks, nah, dog. They rallied. They fought. And Mike McDonald didn't just play for a tie in overtime. He went for the 2-point conversion and a win. 38-37, 12-3, number 1 seed in NFC, and you still think it's a fluke. You're watching the wrong sport, y'all. And I get it. Like, before we dive into it, that play call and how it was I don't even know what they called, man. Like, I watched it. I thought it was an incomplete pass, but I think what they're saying is it was touched behind the line of scrimmage or recovered behind the line of scrimmage. And, bro, I don't even know. I got to look into it more. I'll be honest with you guys. I didn't have a lot of time to look at it today, but I want to go back and look at that play. But it seemed a little odd. My boy Cody, he was like, man, it looks a little fishy. And, you know, usually we're only talking about fishy and rigging when it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs. But we can't do that no more. So, we got to find somebody to point at. We got to find somebody to point and say that's who the refs are going to favor. And so, I mean, if we want to do that with Seattle, we can do it with Seattle. That's all right. But let me dive into why the Seattle Seahawks are going to be Super Bowl bound. The first reason is the McDonald Masterclass. This defense is number 1 in the NFL, y'all. They are the real freaking deal. The unit is currently number 1 in defensive DVOA. Do you understand how hard that is in today's NFL? They're not just winning. They are freaking suffocating people. They generate a 36% pressure rate while only rushing 4 guys. Nuts. That is the holy grail of defensive football. You have Byron Murphy, too, collapsed in the pocket from the inside, while the secondary, even with all the injuries we saw, including the one last night to Kobe Bryant, is playing decisive, they're playing shocking, and they're playing relentless football. They don't just stop you, they take your confidence. They've allowed an average of only 18.1 points per game. That's nuts. In a league that everyone is scoring 30, the Seahawks are the only team with a legitimate no-fly zone. My second reason that the Seattle Seahawks are some NFL favorites is simple. The man behind the helm, the man behind the center, he goes by the name of Sam Darnold. And this is the part that makes everybody in New York and in Carolina sick to their stomachs to watch Sam Darnold, because I included laugh when Seattle brought him in to replace Geno Smith. They said he was a bridge quarterback. Well, y'all, that bridge is leading straight to the Super Bowl. Last night, Darnold went 33 for 51 for 415 and 3 tutties. Yes, he threw 2 picks, but when the game was on the line, when you were down 16 in the cold and in the rain, he was flawless. He is currently number 3 ranked amongst quarterbacks in the NFL, sitting at 3,433 yards, 22 touchdowns. He's playing with a level of confidence we haven't seen from him yet, and he's processing the field. He's making these hero throws, and he's doing it with a smile on his face. If the season ended today, Sam Darnold is a top 3 MVP finalist, period. Period, man. Period. But we can't talk about the Seattle Seahawks without bringing up a generational talent. And I want to talk about Jackson Smith-Njigba. That just, for whatever reason, keeps flying under the radar. Jackson Smith-Njigba needs to be respected. JSN is here, and he is here to stay. He didn't just help win the game. He broke the Seahawks franchise record for receiving yards in a single season, surpassing the DK Metcalf. He has 104 catches with 1,630 yards. With 2 games still to play, Jackson Smith-Njigba has evolved into a matchup nightmare that no one can solve. If you double, don't worry. Go ahead, double Cup, or go after Cup. JSN kills you over the middle. If you try to bracket him, Rashid Shaheed, the best trade deadline acquisition of the year, goes ahead and burns you for 60. This receiving core is the deepest, most versatile unit in the league. And you go ahead and combine that with an offensive firepower, with a number 1 defense, woo! You don't just have a playoff team, y'all. You have a freaking juggernaut. But I want to hear from you, Man Iron Nation. What do you think? You think the Seahawks are Super Bowl bound, or do you think I am just full of it? Don't forget, subscribe. Hit that like button. Remember, we are live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on youtube.com/man hour. Let me know in the comments below. Buck says 1 and done. We'll see. We'll see. I don't see how the number 1 defense is going to be 1 and done, but we will see. Electro says, give me Phillip Rivers to make the Super Bowl. How about Phillip Rivers wins a football game first? Let's start there, okay? The Colts will miss the playoffs. I agree. Yep. Buck says, I like the Panthers versus Pats. That would be a good one. Panthers versus Pats. I mean, not really, because Bryce Young's cheeks. But whatever floats your deal. I'm going to be real, Electro says. Texans are going to be a scary playoff-bound team. I take them over the Seahawks. Yeah, the Texans' defense is solid. And then I like C.J. Stroud and Nico Collins a lot. I believe it was Buck talked about them last week and how dangerous this Texan team is going to be. But let people sleep on them. Let them sleep, let them sleep, let them sleep. That's what I say. You know what I'm saying? Let them sleep. But here's the deal. Whoop. We are getting ready to move in a segment that we here at Man Hour like to call Overreaction. So what is Overreaction going to be? I'm glad you asked. I am glad you asked. Let me tell you about it. All right? Here is what the Overreaction is going to be. For those of you who hasn't seen this segment before, I'm going to throw out a hot take, a bold statement, or an intense reaction to something going on in the NFL world. And then we're going to decide if it's an overreaction or if I'm actually spot on. And if we think it's an overreaction, we'll call it out. We'll say, yo, slow it down. But if it's real talk, we're going to chat about it, baby. So go ahead, grab your popcorn, grab your drink, get relaxed, because we're about to talk about the Colts. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here. We are going to talk about the Indianapolis Colts. What about them, you say? What about them? Just exactly what Buck said. The Colts are done. The Colts are done. And that, sir, is not an overreaction. That is for sure. I know. You see an 8-6 record, and you think, Shay, How can a winning team be done? Because I have eyes. That's why. That's why I think they can be done. Let's look at the absolute carnage that is the Indianapolis Colts right now. First, let's start the quarterback carousel of doom, which I've talked about for weeks now. They started with Anthony Richardson. He's on IR with a fractured face from a exercise band. Then they moved to Daniel Jones, and his Achilles exploded in Week 14. Now, oh my gosh, now they got me reliving my childhood with a 44-year-old Phillip Rivers. And I love Phillip. He's a legend. He got 10 kids for every playoff game he's lost and a heart of gold, but he hasn't played professional football in 5 years. And last week against Seattle, he threw 120 yards. That's it. 120 yards. My nephew, he's 6. He throws for more than that in a middle school game. And he's 6 years old. You can't win playoff games in 2025 with a quarterback who needs a heating pad at halftime. Come on, Colts. Why didn't y'all call Colin Kaepernick? Why didn't y'all call Cam Newton? Why didn't you go get Justin Fields? Why didn't you give the kid Riley Leonard a freaking try, dog? The Colts are done. Let's talk about the death spiral they're about to endure, okay? This team was the number 1 seed in AFC. They were 8-2. They were the darlings of this league. And then, bottom fell out. Everybody's falling out with, oh, snap. There he goes. There he goes. They've lost 4 games in a row. They lost to the Seahawks, who didn't even score a touchdown. They let Jason Myers kick 6 field goals, and they just stood there, and it's, woo, it's good. Woo, it's good. When a team loses its identity this late in the year, they don't find it again, guys. They're a ship without a rudder, and the water is rising. And here's the deal. The remaining 3 games is a gauntlet. It's a gauntlet. Here's the deal. Week 16, they got to play San Francisco, who is the number 2 team in the NFC. Week 17, they got to play the Jacksonville Jaguars, the current AFC South leaders who are playing hot football right now. In Week 18, they have to play against the scary Houston Texans, who are a high-octane defense right now. It's scary. The Colts are done. To make the playoffs, they got to win 2 or 3 of those. 2 of the 3 of those games they got to win. With Phillip Rivers? Against Kyle Shanahan's defense? Against Trevor Lawrence? Nah, fam. They dead. Quit holding on to it, Colts fans. Pull the plug. The defense is ranked 31 against the pass. They just lost to Charvarius Ward and divorced Buckner to the IR. They are literally a skeleton crew playing against Terminators. Their playoff odds are sitting at a measly 8%. In the words of the great philosopher Vince Lombardi, or maybe it was my gym teacher, you can't win if you can't play. And the Colts, they're not playing football right now. They are just surviving. So am I overreacting? Nah, fam. The fact is this. The Colts are cooked. The horseshoe is upside down. The season is over. What do y'all think? I want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts and comments in the section below. Next up in our overreaction, it's about a team that I like a lot, that I was excited to watch just put a spanking on the Bills. And then I slowly sat back and went, what in the world is happening? And my overreaction is this. Is the Patriots implosion a concern? Is the Patriots implosion a concern? Because, y'all, that's an overreaction. And I get it. But let me tell you this. Calm down, Boston. Put down the chowder and listen to me. I know it hurt. I know watching Josh Allen erase a 3-touchdown lead in your own house feels like a nightmare you can't wake up out of. But calling this an implosion for an 11-3 team is a definition of a December meltdown, fam. Here's the deal. The Vrabel effect is real, y'all. Let's look at the context. Mike Vrabel's first year at New England. He took a team that won 4 games last year and turned it into an 11-win juggernaut by mid-October and December. You don't implode when you have a culture builder like that boy, Mike Vrabel. He is the first coach to reach 11 wins in this fast in New England history since the Brady-Belichick era. And then one bad half of football against a desperate Buffalo team, and everybody's like, oh, throw it out the window, throw him and the bathwater and the baby, they're all gone. Slow it down. Slow it down. Here's another thing. Drake May is still that dude. Drake May is still him. Drake May have had a second half that was really rough, but did you see the first quarter? He scored 2 rushing touchdowns where he ran through that defense like a hot knife on some butter. He's sitting right now at 3,567 yards, 23 touchdowns this season. He's a legit MVP candidate, and he's only a sophomore. He's only in his sophomore season. So you're telling me the guy who has led 10 straight wins this season is suddenly a fraud because the defense couldn't stop it in the fourth quarter? Get out of here. Here's the last reason why this is an overreaction. This ground game for the Patriots, historic. That boy, that rookie, Travion Henderson, the kid just set a franchise record with 9.8-yard rushing average against Buffalo. Dude was almost rushing 10 a pop, a first down every run. He's the only player in NFL history other than my boy CJ2K, Chris Johnson, to have multiple games in the season with 2 50-plus yard tutties. When you can run the ball like that, woo, and you got a young QB, you don't implode, baby. You figure out ways to win. You look at the tape, and you find out how you can calibrate back to winning. So here's the deal. Is there a concern? Absolutely. And here's what I'll give y'all doubters the credit. The defense. It used to be a no-fly zone. They just gave up 35 points. They let Buffalo score on 5 straight drives. That's a system failure. And if they don't fix this before they face Lamar Jackson and the Ravens this Sunday night, we could start using the I word, implosion. But as right now, they sit at 11-3, and they had a bad day at the office. They're still the #1 seed in the AFC. They are still the most balanced team in the offense. So Boston, New England fans, relax. Relax. You're good. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. All right. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Do you think the Patriots are imploding and it's something we should be concerned about? Or do you think it was just a fluke and we're going to be able to move on and go with the flow? Let me know in the comments below. Remember, we are live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at youtube.com/manhour. All right. And our last overreaction of the night before we move into our final segment of the show is about this dude right here. This dude right here, Bo Nix, who's responsible for the taking and the snatching of my beloved Micah Parsons ACL. And I had to ask myself, is Bo Nix being carried by his defense? Because his defense is balling out, and Bo Nix is doing some things, and then I just decided that's an overreaction. Let me just stop you right there. Just stop right now. I'm declaring a state of emergency for anyone using the term game manager label for number 10 in Denver. You're living in a fantasy world, dog. You are ignoring the tape, and let me educate you on what actually is happening in the Mile High City. First off, Bo Nix is the red zone dude. He is the red zone king. You want to talk about carried? You don't get carried to the best red zone efficiency in the NFL. You just don't. Listen to these numbers. You ready for this? Bo Nix has 43 total touchdowns and only 2 interceptions in the red zone in his career so far. When the field shrinks and the windows get tight, where game managers usually fold to throw picks, Bo Nix becomes a freaking surgeon. He is the most efficient red zone weapon we have seen since that boy Drew Brees. That isn't defense. That is elite processing and lightning fast release, and I watched it all day on Sunday. The Green Bay statement. Did you watch last Sunday? The Broncos beat the Packers 34-26 to move to 12-2. Yes, the defense was nasty, but look at Bo Nix's stat line. 302 through the air against a defense that's been top 5, top 10 all year. 302 yards through the air, 4 tutties, and 0 picks. He had a 134.8 passer rating. He didn't just manage the game, y'all. He dominated it. He outplayed Jordan Love. He was making hero throws to Cortland Sutton and Troy Franklin that had the announcers gasping. You don't put up 34 points on a top-tier defense like the Packers, handing the ball off and staying out of the way. Nah, you do it by being the player on the field. The last thing is this, the 12-2 reality check. Denver is 12-2 for the first time since John Elway was taking snaps in 98. You don't reach 12 wins in the modern NFL with a passenger at quarterback who's just being carried by his defense. This defense, yes, they are elite. They are number 4 in yards and number 3 in points allowed, but Bo Nix is a reason that this team is finishing games. He's a 5 fourth-quarter comebacks this season. 5. When the defense finally gives up a lead, like they did against the Commanders, like they did against the Cowboys, Bo Nix, don't panic. He drives them 80 yards for the win. That is carrying the team, not being carried. So, my friends, that is an overreaction. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Buck says Nick sucks. Buck, your opinion sucks. I said it. Your opinion sucks. Bo Nix is that dude. Bo Nix is the dude. Second best quarterback to come out of that draft class. Because he's still sitting behind Jaden Daniels. And y'all can roast me for that, but y'all just wait. Y'all just wait. Wait until next year. Peyton, Broncos are not good. Yeah, the Broncos are not good, Peyton. Don't listen to this guy. The Broncos are fine. The Broncos are fine. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is time for a segment that we like to call here at Man Hour Fact or Crap. I will give you our hottest takes. Peyton Spitz. I know who you're talking about, Buck. I know it. I had to shake that man's hand at the banquet and say congratulations on your win. But as we move into facts or crap, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to throw out a fact, or I'm going to throw out some things called facts around the NFL, and you're going to tell me if I'm giving y'all the real deal or if it's a load of crap. We're cutting through the noise. We're breaking down the hype, and we're deciding what's worth buying into here. If it's a fact, we'll call it out. If it's crap, we'll take it outside and we'll bury it. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, enjoy as we move into the final section of our show that we like to call Fact or Crap. And we are going to start with this man right here. This man goes by the name of Mike McCarthy. I know Mike McCarthy very well. Matter of fact, Mike McCarthy was the head coach of my Green Bay Packers for the longest time. He went to Dallas. And everybody in Dallas blamed him for being a crap coach. And guess what? Mike McCarthy is going to be the Tennessee Titans head coach this year. And that's fact, Jack. Listen, I know half of y'all just threw your remote at the TV or at your PC, and you're thinking, Shay, this dude's 62 years old. He spent a year on the couch. Why in the world would the Titans do this? Because the Titans' way is currently a burning dumpster fire. And they are desperate for an adult in the room. So let's look at the stone cold hard facts. This ain't just speculation. Titans president of football operations, Chad Brinker, guess where he was? He was in the front office of Green Bay for the entirety of Mike McCarthy's 13-year run, including the 2010 Super Bowl. They don't just know each other. They got Super Bowl rings together. In an NFL search, who you know is 90% of the battle, ladies and gentlemen. And these two, they're practically family. Second off, you got a quarterback and a young project in him in Cam Ward. The Titans got a Ferrari in the garage, but that Ferrari is being driven by a 2-12 team that's allowed him to be sacked for a league high of 49 times this year. The Titans brass is terrified of ruining Ward like they did Will Levis. So McCarthy's resume includes developing that boy A-Rod and overseeing Dak Prescott's best years. Whether you like it or not, or like his play calling, the man knows how to build a structure around a young quarterback. And last but not least, after the Brian Callahan experiment ended in a disastrous 4-19 record, ownership is done gambling on these young OCs. They want stability. They want somebody who has stood on the podium after a Super Bowl. And who better to do that than Mike McCarthy? He's the ultimate floor raiser. He's the guy who gets you 10 wins in the playoffs for a team that's 2-12. Mediocre and stable sounds like freaking paradise. But I want to hear from you, man. Hour. What you think? You think that's crap or you think that's facts? That boy Buck says crap. Titans will never be good again as long as Jordan Williams is a fan. That's tough. That is tough. That boy Jay Will, man, I hope you get to see some good Titans games, Jordan. Long live the times of Chris Johnson and McNair and McNabb and when A.J. Brown was there and Derrick Henry and Tannehill, R.I.P. R.I.P. Our second segment on Fact or Crap has to do with this dude right here. That's right. That's right. Electro jumps in the chat. He says the Titans are just a late 90s expansion of the Cleveland Browns. And no way they going anywhere anytime soon. Give it time, give it time, give it time, Electro. You also said the Cowboys were going to be good, and guess what? They ain't good. Now, for real, though, let's talk about Shedeur. Let's talk about Shedeur Sanders this is the fact of crap I'm going to throw at y'all, and it's that Shedeur Primetime Sanders is the Browns franchise, and I'm here to tell you, man, our nation, this is a fact, Jack. I don't care if he's the 144th pick in the first round. I don't care because the tape don't lie, baby. Cleveland, you found him. It took you 25 years and 100 different names on the back of that jersey, but the search is over. And here is why Shedeur Sanders is the franchise. He got ice in his veins, baby. Think about what this kid did, all right? He was drafted in the 5th round, buried on the depth chart behind a rookie draftee in Dylan Gabriel, a legend of Joe Flacco. Most kids have been like, nah, I'm done, throwing the towel. It's over. Nah, not Shedeur. Shedeur waited. And he got that call against the Titans. 364 yards and 3 tutties. He became the first Brown quarterback since 1950 to put up those kinds of numbers with a rushing touchdown to boot. He didn't just play. He took over the game and dominated. While Deshaun Watson is sitting there with an $81 million cap hit in 26, Shedeur is out here playing for fuel in the tank. And let's be honest, y'all. The Browns' offense is a straight mess. The offensive line is a liability. He's been sacked 5 times each game, but did you see him against the Bears? Even when he threw those picks, he never blinked. He stayed in the pocket. He took the hits. He kept firing. That's Sanders' ego, baby. That's prime time. Have you ever heard anybody complain about that? No, because that's exactly what Cleveland needs. You need a guy who thinks he is the best player on the planet to survive the pressure of being a quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. And the last thing I want to say about this is this. Here's the truth bomb, people. The Browns, they're stuck in a $230 million prison with Deshaun Watson. The only way out, build a roster around a quarterback, is to have a guy that's on a 5th-round rookie contract who plays like a first-rounder, and his name is Shedeur Sanders. He is the ultimate cap space cheat code, dog. By 2026, the Browns can use that saved money to fix the line, keep Myles Garrett happy, and all because they're paying their quarterback pennies on the dollar who is balling out. But, man, our nation, I want to hear from you. Do you think that's fact or do you think that's crap? Let me hear it from you. Buck in the chat, he says, if Sanders has success in Cleveland, he will get the Baker treatment. Browns don't want to win ever. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. That's all I'm going to say. We'll see. Electro said, I'm skeptical. Johnny Manziel was supposed to be a savior to the Browns. Look where that went. Baker was supposed to be a savior. He ain't there no more. I don't know if it'll pan out for them well. I mean, they need to get rid of Stefanski, y'all. Get rid of the coach. Start over. You got Shedeur. Go get you a young offensive mind and let it rip tater chip. I'm just saying, I'm not debating on whether or not it's going to succeed. I'm just saying this is their franchise guy. They're going to spend years on this dude. They're going to build around this dude. Whether he succeeds or not, that's in his hands. But he is the franchise guy they've been looking for. And I want to hit you with a last factor crap that's going to be a little fun. It's about this dude right here. That man, Colin freaking Kaepernick. Here's the deal. Colin Kaepernick needs to be considered as an NFL quarterback. People need to call him as a viable option. And I'm calling straight facts on this. Put your politics in the locker, throw your bias in the trash, and look at the math, people. Phillip Rivers is 44 years old. He hasn't played in the NFL since 2020. He spent the last 5 years coaching high school ball and getting fat and having more kids. Yet the Colts, a team in a playoff hunt, flew him in for a workout this week because they're desperate. You're telling me a 44-year-old who hasn't played in 5 freaking years, or who hasn't seen a blitz this pandemic, is a viable option over a 38-year-old Colin Kaepernick who has been training all day, every day? I mean, guys, come on. Colts, Indy, this was a stretch. The state of the NFL quarterback play is pathetic. We're seeing red zone interceptions that look like they belong in junior varsity league. We've seen the Browns cycling through backups, the Jets' Aaron Rodgers era ending in a whimper, and the Colts literally running out of bodies. In a league where Tim Boyles and Brett Ripien are still getting checks to hold a freaking clipboard, you cannot tell me That a guy with Super Bowl appearance and a 72-30 touchdown interception ratio isn't worth a look or maybe even a glance at in a practice jersey. And here's the deal. Last but not least, the fitness in Kaepernick is real. This dude just turned 38 in November, but he looks like he's 30. Look at Rodgers. He's 42. Look at Stafford. He's 37. Kaepernick has no football mileage on him. For the last 8 years, no concussions, no ACL tears, no worn down shoulder. He's been posting workout tape all summer. It shows him hitting deep outs, same velocity he had in 2013. If a team like the Colts or the Raiders, who are currently starting Geno Smith, need to break glass in case of emergency veteran, who else better than Colin Kaepernick? You tell me. You tell me, man, our nation. Buck says, facts. Rivers sucks. Colts should have got someone younger. Simple. Have them an actual shot at winning. Electro, I agree. Indy tried to pull a Brady and hope it worked out like it did for the Bucks. They did, and it didn't, because putting Brady and Phillips in the same sentence is not. They're both Hall of Famers. Don't get me wrong, but it's apples and oranges. Apples and oranges. Josh Rosen could come to mind. I mean, he's young, but I mean, at that, I would take. What's his name? Give me Zach Wilson over Josh Rosen. Give me Mondo Boy over Josh Rosen any day. Could have signed Russ off the Giants practice squad too. Dude, Russ is cooked. Russ is a baby. He's cooked. He's done. He's over. But, man, our nation, I love you guys. It's been a great night. I enjoy hanging with y'all all night long. And here's the deal. I hope as we move into the holidays that you enjoy yourself, that you enjoy your family. And just know this, man, our nation, that we here thinking about y'all. We love y'all. We want you to remember we are live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at youtube.com/man-hour. But as I leave you here tonight, I want to leave you with a few things. The Cowboys will not make the playoffs. They suck. The Packers will sweep the entire NFC North. And when Patrick Mahomes comes back, he will be the MVP and throw for 5,000 yards in a single season. I love you guys, and I hope you have a great night. I will talk with y'all later.